the new list of NFL franchise values that Sportico put together.
I know who's number one.
I know you know who is number one, TJ. You want to wave? You want to get the flag out again? Where's the flag? All right, not the yellow flag. We're going to get 15 yards for taunting on you as you wave the Cowboys flag. They are number one. I have had some people, whether it's via text or just looking at comments here on social media, say, no way this is true. There's no way that number is legit. Because remember, the Commanders, the last team to sell to the Josh Harris group before last season began, they sold for just north of $6 billion. That is $6 billion. They are a team, however, without a current stadium solution. They are a team that, to be quite frank, the last 10 to 15 years, it's a house that has kind of fallen into disrepair. I think that's maybe the nicest way to say it. But it's on a lovely street in a lovely neighborhood, meaning the NFL. And it has a fan base that is eager and willing and has been now reactivated, wants to come back and embrace it. And it has in the last year. To the credit of the Harris ownership group and the new administration here, Adam Peters, Dan Quinn, and drafting Jaden Daniels. This is where I grew up. Believe me, people are back. They are back. Oh, yeah. Right? They have awoken a monster. Now, they're not all the way back.
I think a lot of that has to do with Jaden Daniels.
A lot of it has to do with Jaden Daniels.
For this kid.
Yes. They're not all the way back, but they're excited. Because in Washington, they kind of lost a generation of fans. They lost an entire generation. Now, that's a broad stroke, and maybe that's a little bit unfair because it's not as if the Dan Snyder team never had success. They did. But there was a lot of alienation in the community with the old school fans. And you had a lot of kids who were born there, born into households where you should be rooting for this team, but this team wasn't any good. Their parents became disillusioned, and it's the fantasy football era where they just took their allegiances elsewhere. And that's what the new ownership group has to fight, and they have to rebuild trust. Much like when the Rams, different, but when LA was without a team, the Rams left, right, for about 20 years there. We kind of lost a generation of fan here in Los Angeles, and that fan grew up with Sunday Ticket and with fantasy football, and they took their allegiance elsewhere. The Rams came back, Chargers as well. Rams certainly rebuilt it with 2 trips to the Super Bowl and a Lombardi trophy, and they rebuilt it as well with a beautiful new building, SoFi Stadium and everything there in Inglewood. Anyway, I digress. Back to the franchise values here. The Dallas Cowboys check in at estimated $10 billion. $10.3 billion. And you say, wait a minute. That's $4 billion more than the Commanders sold for. So and marvelous. Rough math, 66, 65, whatever, % higher than the Commanders' sale. There's no way that could be true. I'm telling you, it is true.
I thought we were irrelevant.
It is true. Wow. Now, as my dad once told me, and hi, Dad, I think you're watching today.
Hi, Mr. Siciliano.
Hi, Mr. Siciliano.
Hello.
Nothing is worth what they claim it is worth until somebody is willing to pay it. I used to come down all the time. Hey, Dad, this Jose Canseco rookie card is worth $50. This Will Clark rookie card is worth $35. And he makes that Nuschler face, or Will Clark, $35. Right? Because my Beckett's baseball card magazine tells me it's worth $50.
Look, this Ken Griffey Jr. Donruss rated rookie card is going to buy us a house one day.
And he would say to me, that's great, but it's worth $50 if somebody actually pays you $50.
Exactly.
It isn't.
Wise man,
if it's just speculation.
Yes. Very wise.
Right. Wise man also worked at the Federal Reserve, so
Hey.
Talk banking and value. And anyway, I digress. So the Cowboys aren't worth $10.3 billion unless somebody writes Jerry Jones a check for $10.3 billion.
But he'll never sell. So
he says he's never going to sell. Obviously, Stephen, Charlotte, right?
they're never selling
Stephen Jr.
either.
They're all there.
There's no way.
Right?
Let me tell you.
Right? They'll find a way. It'll stay in the family.
Yes. When someone from overseas whips out that checkbook and writes 11 B's on there, somebody's going to sell.
But here's why this is important. As you saw as well, Stan Kroenke, don't think he's going to sell. They say the Rams are worth $7.8 billion. The New York Football Giants, family-owned business, two families, $7.65 billion. The New England Patriots, $7.31 billion. The Niners, the Jets, these are all big market teams for the most part, other than the Raiders on this list. Right. Big money, big money. It's important because as the NFL meets in the coming weeks to discuss private equity investment, you base that investment on the overall valuation of the team, right? So these numbers, while they are projections from a publication, they are important here because let's say Jerry wants to bring in some private equity money. Hey, guys, I have a $10 billion price tag valuation here. So anything that you contribute, right, these are the numbers here that we are working with. So you want to give me $2 billion? Okay, that's only 20% of the team, right? You want to give me, see what I'm saying? And obviously with the Raiders here as well, that was some of the holdup with Tom Brady. Well, Tom Brady's going to throw an X, and you're going to get what percentage of the team? And they're like, wait a minute, does that math work here? Does that math,
That's why that deal still hasn't gone through yet.
Exactly. Does that math work? So, yeah, I do think if Jerry would have put a for sale sign, and by the way, all the owners love this report. I'm just guessing. I haven't spoken to one.
Yeah, absolutely.
But they love all this, right? They love all this. They hope that the Commanders might get a little bit higher, might get closer to 7, right? 6.3, that's the latest flag. Question is, where is the next one to come off the board? Where is the next offer? There is a report by Sportico this morning as well that the Buccaneers recently received an unsolicited offer.
Of 6.
In the neighborhood of 6. Turned it down. Again, a family-owned business here with other interests, EPL, among other places. Yep. So these franchise values will only go up because of the fact that the NFL has $105 billion, I believe, 110 of long-term broadcast deals currently signed and locked in. Whether or not they reopen those deals in light of the NBA new contracts, and that has been reported widely, and Roger Goodell, the commissioner, didn't say no when speaking recently to CNBC to that concept. I'm not reporting anything that hasn't already been said. But yeah, the franchise values will only go up because look, everybody, at the top 100, or just make it the top 50, make it top 100 if you want, of most watched television shows in the United States of America every year. What are they? They are NFL broadcasts. Usually 90 to 95 of those 100 shows. The others are like State of the Union addresses, right? We're in a campaign year, an election year rather. So debates get massive numbers. Whether or not they happen and what network they happen on, not important. They get massive numbers. The Rose Bowl, College Football National Championship game, that obviously gets a massive, massive number. And there are certain appointment viewing college football games that will get massive numbers. But there is only one guarantee in American television. One. And I'm not talking, when I say American television, I mean all of live American television. There is one guarantee, and that is the NFL will dominate the ratings. What is the most watched show in America on a weekly basis? Anyone know?
Sunday Night Football.
Sunday Night Football. They do a great job, by the way, on that broadcast.
And it's a great game usually.
And it's usually a great game, or at least two teams where you think it's going to be a great game and you want to watch. And it is the number one show in America, year in, year out. Period. So, yeah, these franchise values, they will go up. And for those of you that don't think Jerry or Stan could get that number, they could.
Jerry would get 12.
Yeah.
Yeah, let's keep it real.
Let's keep it real.
Do you know what this?
That would go over
the
value.
stadium cost
Alone.
5.
close. No, I'm talking in LA, close to 6.
Yeah.
So if you buy that, I mean, that's a nice house. Okay, it's a nice house.
Andrew,
And
let me
whose
ask,
house is it?
Andrew, can
And
I
it's
ask you-
Stan's house.
Let me ask you this, because I've said this on the show before because we talk so much Cowboys, and I've said, I maybe even half jokingly, that because they're worth so much and they're so successful at every other aspect of business, that I kind of question if winning football games is the top priority of this organization.
It absolutely
You would think
is.
it absolutely is, but I don't know, man. When you're making that much money and you're worth that much money.
Listen, there are some organizations that people question and say, could more be done? Let's put it that way, right? They care, they want to win, but could more be done, right? With the Cowboys, listen, Jerry has his own unique way of negotiating in the media with guys on his roster that want new contracts. Sometimes I agree with it, sometimes I don't, sometimes I scratch my head. Like, I'll never forget last year when Jerry, the first week, it was back together Saturday, said something along the lines of, yeah, I'm not paying Zach Martin because I got to pay Micah Parsons and CeeDee Lamb next year.
Yeah.
And you go, whoa. Like, that's not, locker room don't want to hear that. Like, you rarely say, hey, I'm sorry, pal, I can't pay you because I got to pay him out loud. You don't say that. That one, I remember I was sitting at Rams camp in Irvine that day, and we all, MJD and I, looked at each other and went, okay. Whoa. Wow.
That's a take.
Got it. Yeah. There's a hot take. But, hey, he's the owner. It works out. Jerry wants to win. Badly wants to win. He wants another one. He knows. I mean, Jerry is, I don't want to cut him. Jerry's 81. He has not yet turned 82. I was going to call him 82. Quick Google right there. He turns 82 like week 5, week 6, something like that. He knows. I'm not 82, thankfully, but when you're 82, you realize windows only open so much longer, right? I mean, that guy's going to live until he's 100, I think.
He's older than Joe Biden.
There you go. Yeah, he is older than...
One guy lost his job. So.
Yep. The other guy lost his job.
Stop.
Well, no, take it back. He has not lost his job. You were wrong with that. I just repeated what you said. He still very much has his job.
Only for a little while.
For a few more months.
Yeah, for a little while longer.
Yes.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.